When the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown first had its reveal, it had caught the eyes of many, including my own. Upon looking further into the game, I must admit I didn't even know the game had predecessors, with the original coming out in 1989, and 12 more entries coming in after that. But of course, now they have a new one coming out very soon. Here's everything you need to know about it.
I'm here to save a prince.
Are you now?
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown will be the first in the series where you're not actually playing as a prince. Instead, you'll play as Sargon, who is a member of the Immortals, a group comprised of 7 of Persia's most elite and skilled warriors. At the start, Sargon has his fellow Immortals fend off an attack on Persia by the Kushan army, though their celebrations are short-lived, as not long afterwards, Prince Ghassan is kidnapped by Anita, a woman who was taught by everyone to be loyal to the Persian crown, and taken to Mount Kaf, believing that she intends to use the prince to seize power and take control of Persia. Sargon and the Immortals head to the ruined formal citadel on the mountain under orders from the queen, hoping to find peace and rescue the prince. One thing that stood out to me about this game is how smooth and unique it looks. The art style heavily draws on Persian mythology, so if you're into that, maybe this is the game for you. Graphically, this game looks amazing for a 2D action side-scroller, and is the reason why it has caught the attention of many. One cool aspect about this game is that Ubisoft will be including Farsi VO. While you can of course play the game in English and a number of other languages, if you are looking for a more authentic experience where characters are speaking their native tongue, consider opting for the Farsi voiceovers. And before we continue, make sure to like and subscribe to keep up with all the PlayStation news, reviews, and analysis.
You are to leave for Mount Kaf at once. Bring him back. Bring back my son.
This game is going to have a Metroidvania structure, and if you don't know what that is, it's a subgenre of action-adventure games or platforms focused on guided, non-linear, and utility-gated exploration and progression. Mount Kaf is promising to be a large and varied setting, with a complex and interconnected map that will be throwing obstacles and hurdles your way. Different abilities will allow you to make it into new areas, which means there'll probably be a lot of backtracking and freedom exploration. But as you do explore, you'll find plenty of collectibles, upgrades, and shortcuts to unlock, side quests to track down, and NPCs to meet, and much more. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown will have a variety of different biomes, settings, and environments that you will be able to explore. We can see Sargon exploring around abandoned and ruined remains of Mount Kaf Citadel, its deadly dungeons and depths, and a forest biome close by that with wild beasts to fight. Each biome has its own unique look, but also different enemies, hazards, platforming challenges, and more. As you explore the Lost Crown, you'll find a bunch of walk trees to tweak aspects of your appearance, such as amulets and Athra Surge attacks that you will have equipped. Movement and transversal is a huge part of this gameplay experience, and they are really honing in on it on this game. In addition to your regular jumps, long jumps, and slides, Sargon can also jump off walls, swing off bars, grab onto and jump off of handholds, and more. So platforming is going to be a huge deal in this game, with spikes coming out of the walls, moving spikes contraptions to jump over or slide under, platforms disappear from under your feet if you stand on them for too long, and more. Sargon gaining access to and utilizing items that players will be using frequently throughout their time with the game. There's Eyes of the Wanderer, which lets you map out areas as you explore them, and Memory Shards, which allow you to take a snapshot of any area where you spout out of reach treasure so you can mark it on your map and return to it later.
You seem stronger, but not strong enough to save a friend yet.
Amulets will be crucial, and with different amulets holds different abilities, and they each have their own benefits, like having a slightly more maximum health. Though you can only have one amulet equipped on the outset, Sargon can find updates that will allow him to equip more. There are a variety of enemies and bosses, and we have already seen a handful of them. From a horse-mounted general swiping at him with a massive weapon, to a beast that was a cross between an elk and a boar, to another giant beast of some sort, but there are also loads of regular enemies as well. Some enemies were really fast and swift, while others were just more slow and powerful. Right off the bat, the game's combat seems like there's quite a lot going on.
There's nothing you can do to stop me.
In addition to his basic and charged attacks, Sergeant can kick enemies into the air, he can duel out upwards and downward slashes, and even use environmental hazards to his advantage, like kicking an enemy into a wall of spikes. Meanwhile, he can also block and parry attacks, while certain special attacks can also be paired with a special move called Vengeful Counter, which sees him turn an enemy's attack on themselves with flashy and cinematic moves. Another combat ability that Sergeant gains access to pretty early on is the Athra Surge, which we heard a little bit about before. While using, he can channel the energy inside of him to use special powerful moves. Each attack you gain builds up your Athra meter, while taking damage depletes it. Once your meter is full, you can unleash an Athra Surge. Through different Athra Surges, which obviously come with their own unique benefits and attributes, can require different levels of Athra gauge buildup. The first surge that you unlock only requires a gauge to be filled up to its first level, but more powerful surges will have higher demands.
Time no longer flows like a river.
Time, again, will play a huge part in this game. As soon as Sergeant and his fellow immortals enter their mount, they find time is behaving strangely, with some areas having localized effects of time and some frozen entirely, while certain conversations that Sergeant has with NPCs also suggest that though they only arrived in the Citadel a day before, for them 30 years have passed. Clearly, finding out what happened with Mount Koth and how it affected time will be a huge part of this story. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is set to release January 18th on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and PC. If you pre-order the game from any retailer, you'll get the Warrior Within outfit, as seen in the 2004 video game. The deluxe edition comes with the game itself and the following additions: a 3-day early access with the pre-order, Immortal Character outfits, Prosperity Bird amulet, the deluxe pack, and a digital adventure guide. So how do you feel about the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown? Will you be buying the game? I'll make sure to have the game linked below for you to check out. Make sure to like and subscribe for all the PlayStation game news, reviews, and analysis. Pause for now, play forever. AK out.